Welcome back to Create Craft Costume, where we think creating is as close to magic as we're gonna get. My name is Ashley, and this is the English trained tailor Cheryl. Yeah, it's fall. Yes, I am a basic white person. Give me the pumpkin spice, give me all the pumpkins, give me the fall leaves, and for the love, I'm so sick of hot weather. So this is the best way to get ready for that. So Cheryl's going to introduce our project today.
We are continuing on with the theme of using what we have, which inspired this little project. Yes, we're getting ready to go to fall. I love fall. I also save anything that has to do with fall or holiday fabric of any kind because you never know when it's going to come in useful. Ran across two beautiful pieces of fall leaves that I thought could be made into a pair of matching pillows. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to make two pillows. We've got some velvet we're going to work with, this extra panel of fabric that I have, and this time, instead of piping like we did on the bag, we're going to use some purchased braiding. Same principle, only we don't have to make it ourselves. So stay tuned. We'll turn out some beautiful pillows. I encourage you to watch and apply what we're going to show you. Pillows make great hostess gifts, just to spice up your house for holidays. I've yet to meet anyone that doesn't love a hostess gift of a pillow that's going to match their decor or something fun for the season.
Like, for real though, do you know how expensive pillows are? Like, this is a good video. Keep watching.
Hello friends, we're going to do something I think will be really fun today. I have this little strip of fabric. It's from a fabric panel. The centerpiece I wanted because I was making a autumn throw for my TV room. This was on either end. There were two pieces and I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but it was too pretty to throw away. So I decided I'm going to put it on a pillow. So here's how I'm going to make this. I had a purchased pillow form like this. That's going to go across like that. Fits just very nicely. Then I thought, how am I going to decorate this pillow? I had some extra quilted velvet that I had just laying around. So I cut that as close as I could to fit the pillow. However, as is so often the case, I didn't have quite enough, which in this case is totally fine because that little bit right there will be covered with this piece. So I'm going to do a little work on this piece, but let me show you what the finished pillow is going to look like so you know where we're going. It's going to go across there, and we're going to put piping down either side of the pillow. And then sew up the ends, and that's going to be our pillow. So let's take it apart now, and I will show you how we accomplish this. Okay, so here's my two pieces. As you can see, they look a little bit different because I want this to lay super, super flat on the pillow because it's such a pretty piece. I did interface the other side of it. You know me, interfacing is my friend. I love it. And I did piece the interfacing right here. We've talked about that in previous videos. But just as a reminder, with the iron-on interfacing, you can piece it. It's going to be just fine. Then I took the raw edge and I just pressed it under like that. Now what I like to do in my pressing is in my spray bottle, not in your steam iron, put a little bit of vinegar in the water, spray it down, and then iron it. You'll get a really, really sharp crease like that. So there's two ways to do this. You don't have to put the piping on, but I have it. It's a good way to talk about piping, so we are going to do that. But just a word about piping first. I'm hoping you can see this. You can see that one side is flat and the other side is raised a little bit. That is because it is built to have the flat side be down, so the part that's sewn on will stick up above. So when you're looking at this kind of braiding, is what it's actually called, you'll make sure that the flat side is down and the ridge is up. You can do it the other way. It's just going to be a little more difficult and not as beautiful when you're all done. Okay, so in order to do that, you might be wondering, how are we going to sew this when we can't get through it? We are going to make another seam on the other side down here, open it up, sew this flat, and then sew the back seam. So we're just going to fold this in half and cut up the back. Then we'll have a flat surface to sew. So we've got this. We're going to put our piping with the flat side down. And then we're going to put this on top right there. And we're going to pin it in place. I'm not going to cut this till after it's sewn in, because it will fray on the end. Get that right up against the piping as close as we can. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. We'll sew this down, and then we will come back and show you how we're going to put the pillow together. Then you're going to want to use your zipper foot, or if you have a 1/4 inch foot, you're going to use one of those.
Yes, you have probably noticed the pins are no longer there. That's how Cheryl was trained. If you are a beginning sewist, don't feel bad for putting as many pins as you need.
Okay, we've got it all sewn down. You can see that the stitching is right along there. It's all hooked in. It looks beautiful. So now what we're going to do is put your pillow on upside down. We're going to see about what kind of a seam we need to make. Because I'm just reminding you, you don't have to have a pattern here. You can just, our pattern is the pillow. Okay, so we've got that much. What we're going to do is we're going to sew from the sides to about right here and the side to about right there, so we can put the pillow in this middle opening, and then we're going to sew the end seams. We're just going to sew this up from the very end of the seam. And I'm just going to keep that 1/4 inch foot on. It just works quite well. I'm going to sew in about that far, back stitch.
With the 1/4 inch and any pattern, like if it's a directional pattern, you just know that you can follow right along one of these corners. So the directional pattern makes it a lot easier to make your seams even.
Exactly. Okay, and then we're just going to come up this side. We're going to sew about that much out. And we're going to just sew this other end up. The reason I'm doing it this way is it's just so much easier to stick that pillow in through the back than all the way down the one end. So now we've got that opening right there to stick the pillow in, okay? Then I'm going to come down to the other end and sew it closed. Put that seam in the middle of the design. So it'll go down the back of the pillow. Press that seam open. I'm going to sew along that. Now I've already measured it, and it's about 3/4 of an inch, 5/8 of an inch seam on the end.
But remember, just use your pillow as your guide.
Exactly. Now when sewing over the braid, you might want to go a little bit slow because the machine kind of has to go up and over that. And I'm going to lengthen out the stitch and slow that down a little bit.
Use this, it will be your friend.
Mm-hmm. Same on the other side. Stitch that across. There we go. And on through the other side. Okay, now we've got that sewn straight across. Do the same thing on the other end. opening there.
Tip time, because I've never seen that. Cheryl and I have two fundamentally different ways. She likes to sew with the needle stopped up, and that drives me bat crazy. So I like to sew with the needle down, and here's why. If you have the issue of keeping this under the presser foot and your needle was down, all you would have needed to do was lift the presser foot, and the needle keeps your fabric where it should be. However, I have never seen this used when the needle is up. So that just comes with different training. I was trained with the needle down because it helps keep my fabric in place at all times. If you're trained with the needle up but still need to manipulate your fabric, you can use little tools like this, which was super cool. I've never seen that before. So there are two methods.
Okay, I have sewn those end seams. We've got the little opening here. I'm going to now put my little pillow right in here. If by happenstance that the opening is not big enough, just open it up a little bit more. And then you'll just do the ladder stitch, which we'll show you when we're done, to put that pillow, to close up that pillow. It's kind of a little bit of a tug of war. I'll show who's boss here. And it goes. Then just a matter of finagling it around so you get it up into the corners so you have a nice square pillow. Peek in here. What I'm doing is I'll knead it a little bit like that, because sometimes when you get it up it doesn't, so I'll knead that batting down into those corners just like you're kneading some bread dough. There, you can see I got a little bump right there just to fill up those corners, and you can see it's not right there, so we're going to put that up in the corner there. But that's how you get a nice professional looking square pillow. As you can see, pillows are pretty simple to make and just take a little time to get this around where it needs to be. There we go. Now I'll get some thread and we'll do that ladder stitch on the other side, and then our pillow is done. Okay, we're ready to go. I've got some thread in here. I've tied a knot in the end. I like double thread. You're going to start back a ways so your knot is underneath. I'm going to pull it up right here. This is called the ladder stitch. And what you do is you take a little bite of fabric on one side, and then you take a little bite of fabric on the other side, and then you go on like that. A little bite right here, a little bite right there. And as you can see, you've got these stitches going across here that look like steps on a ladder. I'll do a few more so you can see, and then we're going to pull it tight, and you will see it gives you an almost invisible little seam. And over here. You see how it looks like ladder rungs across there? And when you pull it tight, your seam disappears. And we're just going to continue that all the way down. I'll do a little bit longer one up here now that we've got it started, so you can see. Now, some of you might be asking, why didn't I put a zipper in this pillow? You may have noticed the pillow form did have a zipper in it. The woman that I'm making this pillow for, it says just a decorator pillow. She says nobody's going to use it. It's going to sit on her, I don't know, couch or love seat or something. She's going to take it out every couple of months, put it in the dryer with a dryer sheet just on air fluff, freshen it up. So she has it's not going to be used. She says, I don't have any reason to wash it. Now, depending on what fabric you use, pillows can be washed. The pillows that I don't put a zipper in, I know that the fabric can be washed, the batting can be washed, and then you put them in the dryer. And the thing with pillows is when you put them in the dryer, they have to dry quite a long time. And you can either let them run for 2 cycles or run by themselves, or let them dry part way, let them sit out, air dry for a little bit, and then dry again in the dryer. But if we were going to put a zipper in this, the zipper would go right here. You always want to put a zipper, I do, on the back side of the seam. A zipper on the end is usually not very comfy. It can be done, but it is not my favorite place to put a zipper. Ashley, you got any questions for me?
Would you put an invisible zipper in this velvet?
It never occurred to me to put an invisible zipper in a pillow. I might. I hadn't even thought about that. I don't see any reason why you couldn't. If anybody watching this, if you've made a pillow and you put an invisible zipper in this, let us know how it went. Why you could.
Specifically with velvet.
No. I would not.
That's what I say. I would love to hear if you put an invisible zipper on a velvet pillow, but I meant that as a joke.
Oh, good.
I was expecting a look. It is a joke, I swear.
Mm-hmm. Sure you did. She's laughing because she designed a dress to wear to a show in San Francisco. Gorgeous dress, velvet. Actually, it is a beautiful, beautiful dress. And it came to the point to do the invisible zipper. And I said arrogantly, oh, I'll just stick that in for you, no big deal, because it was getting late and she needed to go home. Took me forever. I'm not even going to tell you how many hours to put that zipper in. I don't know why it gave me such grief, but it was a nightmare. It went through, didn't go through a collar, but it went through a waist and several layers, but it was just horrible. I had the worst time with that zipper on velvet, so
especially if you're a beginner, don't recommend.
I'm sure I've done it before, but that sure gave me a lot of grief that time.
So you mentioned putting velvet in the dryer.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, even though it doesn't have a zipper, would you wash this?
No. I know this velvet is not washable. And when I showed it to the lady who wanted this pillow, she said, I'm not going to wash it, it's fine. So that's the thing. Some velvet is washable, some velvet is not. And if you have a velvet that is not washable, you wash it, you no longer have a piece of beautiful velvet. And it's not something you can recover.
What type of zippers would you recommend for pillows?
I would use plastic ones and just the regular, and I would do the lap method as opposed to that has not the centered piece, because then you can see the zipper. But I would put the zipper that has the little flap over the edge, and then you can't see it. And if somebody happens to lay on it, they can't really feel it.
Can decorative trim like braiding be washed?
Cold water, cold dryer. Usually it has a lot of rayon in it. Rayon is not a real fan of hot water, hot dryers. Dry cleaning is fine.
Can you tell if a velvet is washable by feeling it?
You know what? In the good old days, it was easier to tell. I'm not sure I could tell with velvets today. I'm just not, I don't know I would trust myself.
So if you're thrifting for velvet, just plan on not washing it.
Or else test a little bit. Take a little bit, wet a little corner. You don't necessarily have to wash the whole thing, but take a piece, near the selvage, or if it's cut in unevenly, somewhere that you could take a piece, get it real wet, rub it a little bit if you're going to put it in the washer, and then put it in the dryer, lay it out and see how it fares with the water. Just read the label. Velvet can be tricky. You see my seam disappearing? All right, we're going to just finish this off and tie a knot, and we are done. And when I tie a knot, I usually tie a couple of knots and then put the thread down inside. Oh, this thread wants to knot. I got another knot. Sorry, just a sec. Did you see that if you get a knot that has a loop like that, usually if you just gently tug on the loop, it will untie the knot. If you tie it, if you pull it tighter on that loop, it's just going to get a tighter knot. Then I just put the thread through there, pull it in, trim it off, and the pillow is done. Ta-da!
Look how pretty. It's so pretty. And this was all made of scraps, guys. Look how cool. Also, as a tip, because she was the one doing the sewing, velvet is a super fun fabric if you're a new person. So if you are a new sewist, velvet's, it's gorgeous. It, like, you will not get the luxury with other fabrics, but it moves so much. So this is actually what I liked about this piece, is it's a really, really fun beginning way to introduce yourself to velvet that has a lot of give room as far as your learning curve. I jumped in with stockings and I don't recommend that. So start with this one.
So here are these gorgeous pillows. And let me tell you, it really took no time at all to make these. Leftover velvet, leftover purchased binding panel from another project. Seriously, make some pillows, and they are so expensive in the store. You can make these for practically nothing, and they're beautiful. So have fun with this, and please subscribe, and if you've made pillows, show us. We'd love to see what you do with your creative powers.
Go to our Instagram. That's where you show us.